Welcome to another Relate Well Institute with Dr. Rick Marks. Listen, folks, we have wonderful conversations here about simple things that hopefully make life simple for you in terms of enriching your life, professional development, spiritual development as well. If you want to learn more about our work, go to relatewellinstitute.com. That's relatewellinstitute.com. You can learn about our seminars, workshops that we do. We actually come to churches and businesses and we teach leadership, emotionally healthy leadership trainings. We actually teach the Relate Well core. We train marriage mentors and marriage coaches and relationship coaches in the core curriculum of Relate Well. All right, let's jump into the topic for right now. Have you ever tried to get someone to believe what you believe? Have you ever tried to convince someone that they're wrong and your way of thinking is right? Have you ever tried to persuade someone through an argument and didn't work? Or maybe it did work. Have you ever tried to get your spouse, if you're married, to agree with you? Have you ever tried to get your kids to agree with you, to listen to you, particularly when they're teenagers or adults? We're going to take a quick look at Aristotle. Yep, that guy, Aristotle. Yep. You know, he talked about the art of persuasion, the argument for persuading someone. And I think there's a lot of truth in what he has to say here. So let's take a look at it. He says there's three things that are needed in order to persuade. Are you ready? Here we go. Pathos, P-A-T-H-O-S. You need ethos, E-T-H-O-S, and you need logos. I'm going to give those to you again if you're taking notes. Pathos, you need ethos, and you need logos. Let's take a look at those. Pathos is an appeal to the emotions of the speaker. Yes, you cannot ignore a person's feelings, emotions. That's all linked to the right side of the brain over here, the limbic system, which is the emotional brain. The limbic system, emotional brain, is a kingpin part of the brain because nothing hits the data logic side, which is the left side, until it passes through the emotions. Thus, whatever your emotional state is, it will color how you see reality, how you understand reality. And so logical arguments to get someone to persuade someone, you must also honor their feelings, but you must also, in your argument of persuasion, must appeal to their feelings. You also need ethos. Ethos is the credibility of the speaker. In other words, you don't want me talking about brain surgery. I don't have credibility to talk about brain surgery. I can maybe talk about a brain surgery I might have experienced. I may be able to talk about a heart surgery I have experienced. I might be able to talk about a car that I had fixed, but I don't have the credibility to talk about fixing a car. Why? I can't. And so important in the area of persuasion is that you have the credibility to talk about what you are trying to persuade. You ever notice, particularly today, Christians are arguing things politically, theologically, but they don't have really credibility. They're limited. There's a very limited realm of knowledge that they actually have about that topic, but they think they know a lot. But in reality, they don't. And there's a lot of things they don't know that they don't know. You see, in order to persuade someone, you got to have the credibility. Now, I have the credibility to talk about emotional wellness, leadership. I have the credibility to talk about healthy relationships, marriage, trauma, resiliency. Why? I got the cred, studied it, lived it, taught it, addictions, been there, done that. You see, I've got the credibility. But even though I have the credibility by itself, ethos by itself will not persuade someone to listen to you if you don't pathos, if you don't appeal to their feelings. That means if I know that you have had a struggle with abuse and I'm trying to persuade you to think about the abuse in a different way that will help free you to heal in a way that you never healed before, I can't minimize your pain. I can't disregard your pain. I can't, hang on there, my phone's ringing. I can't invalidate your pain. I have to honor your emotions, I have to honor your pain, I have to honor all of that. To discredit and discount, invalidate how someone feels in our world, in my world, it's disrespectful. You never, ever, ever dishonor a person's feelings. And the third thing you have to have, according to Aristotle, is logos. Logos. So let's go. Ethos is credibility. Pathos is an appeal to the emotions of the audience, all right, of the person. And logos is logic and reasoning. Your argument must be logical and it must be reasonable. It has to make sense, not in your world, but out here. I call it out here in life and time, right? Not in your head, but out here in reality. It has to be logical. And when our arguments are logical, we appeal to the emotions of those we're trying to talk to, the audience or a person, and we have credibility. You increase the likelihood of persuading that person. Or think of it this way. In order to persuade someone, I must establish my own trustworthiness. I have to establish my trustworthiness, that I have the credibility. Then I have to connect to their emotions. I have to connect to them at the emotional level. Why? That connects the heart. That connects us in a relationship. And then I must present a sound and logical argument. And when ethos, pathos, logos, your credibility, which makes you trustworthy, pathos, you're connecting to them at the emotional level, and you have a sound, logical argument, you increase the likelihood of persuading. But when any one of those three things are absent, you probably won't. Just a thought. As you argue your point in your marriage, relationships, wherever, I think there's some truth behind what Aristotle's telling us. Remember, ethos, credibility. Do you have the credibility? Are you trustworthy? Can we trust what you have to say? Pathos, appealing to their emotions. Got to emotionally connect to them. And lastly, is it logical? Is it sound? Is it reasonable? Not in your head, but out here in reality. Is it trustworthy? Can you connect emotionally? And does it make sense logically? This is Dr. Rick. Hope this has been helpful for you in a small way. Take care.